All right, everybody. Hello, we are back. It's Stephen and Contreras and Dr. Bruce Baird here with Outstanding Balance. It's been a busy couple months, things are starting to really reopen and we've had our opportunity to go to some of our first in-person dental events. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, and we're going to talk about compassionate finance and some other wonderful things that we have in store for your practice in 2021. So without further ado, I'm going to let Dr. Baird kind of tee us off, and then we're going to get into a little Q&A. If you have any questions along the way, do feel free to go ahead and type them over there in the chat, and looking forward to talking to you.
Thanks, Stephen. I'm excited. I'm sorry, we've been kind of out of pocket here for the last month. I was in the Maldives and I was there for 2 weeks. We did not have the best in internet service. Tried to do a couple of things, but it just didn't quite work out. Came back, had a little surgery, and doing good after that. But so I'm just glad to be back on. And we had an amazing program. We went to the Smiles at Sea, or whatever they called it. I can't remember what they called it, Stephen, but it was the Dental Festival with Elijah Desmond. And I'm so excited that, there were so many wonderful dentists there. I mean, across the board, we had just an amazing time. A lot of really good, just getting to know people that, I hadn't seen in a while, getting to know new friends. They had the Dentistry's Got Talent program, which I was a judge, and it was amazing. Dr. Jeff Buski my partner ended up winning the whole darn thing out of 50 speakers. Now I did, for those of you who are wondering, I did recuse myself when it came down to the final vote, but it was a hidden ballot. And Jeff just did an amazing job. So I want to shout out to him and his entire program that Jeff does called Dental Syndicate, because he is doing things with what we call the Fire 4 formula, which is faith, finance, family, and something else with an F. So anyway, so that was awesome. We also got a chance to visit up with a bunch of new KOLs that are out there. Heard a bunch of phenomenal speakers that you guys are going to be hearing over the next the next few years. They're all young, they're not old and decrepit like me, but they are amazing speakers. But what I wanted to share with you guys tonight, and it's something that we're seeing, and I'm in my wine room. We got our wine room finished. So I've got a little jacket here. It's 58 degrees, and unfortunately it's pouring down rain outside, and it's about 58 degrees in Texas, which is just weird. So if I start shivering, you guys will know what's going on. But what I want to do is I want to talk about why do people need monthly payments? And this is it's a simple conversation, but it's something that we really had no answers to for a long time. Back in 2008, when the economy dipped, I started thinking about, what about my patients? They don't have the cash, or maybe they have the cash, but they just didn't have the confidence to go forward with some of the dental work that I've been doing, whether it be full mouth rehabs, veneers, quadrants of restorations, whatever it was. And so what ended up happening is Jeff and I were driving back, and many of you have heard this story. Jeff Buski and I were driving back, and he said, you think we could loan, you think we could, if somebody came up with $2,000 down, could we carry the financing for those patients for orthodontics? And I was like, and I started thinking, and I said, well, how much do we have in it? How much are our hard costs to do orthodontics? I don't do ortho. I was doing implants and all kinds of other stuff, full mouth rehab. And he said, well, we've got about $415 in it, meaning parts. And I go, what do we charge? He said, $6,000. And I went, wow. I wasn't just thinking of the 2,000. I was thinking about, what about people that just would pay the 400, because this is a team driven, it's team driven discipline. So why wouldn't I do some financing there? And of course, I always hear the same things. And What if they don't pay me? But we'll get into that in just a sec. From my perspective, immediately I started thinking about CEREC restorations. And it really doesn't matter if it's CEREC. Nowadays, you can have restorations made because everybody's using CAD. I don't care if they're your lab or whether you have a CEREC or whether you have a iTero and you're milling with a different milling machine. You know, the cost, yes, the cost of the initial equipment is significant, but you get to write that off. You can do, there are certain things that you can do to save money on taxes. But when it comes down, I'm thinking, as we're driving that night in 2008-9, I'm thinking, I got a $30 block and I'm charging $1,400 for it. And I'm letting people leave without getting the work done. And that was really the foundation behind comprehensive finance or compassionate finance. Started out as comprehensive finance was the forward-looking part of the company, and compassionate was the product, and that's what patients would see, compassionate finance. And there were three main reasons why people, you know, and I was asking myself this because I spent probably 48 hours awake with Excel spreadsheets. That's what I do. And I was working every aspect, running interest models and running all this stuff because I just love doing that. Kind of a sicko, but I do that with every business thing that I do. And what I realized was there were three main reasons we hadn't done it. Number one, we'd been told from the front of the room not to be the bank. And I was one of those guys. I've lectured for 30 years in front of dentists and said, don't be the bank, just let them do it. I was wrong. Number two, we didn't know how to do it. And at that point I said, you know what? I want to find out how to do it. And so we enlisted an attorney firm out of Austin, Texas, spent close to $1 million to find out what is the usury rules in all 50 states, because they change. The rules are different in every state in the country. So I began to look into all of those different things, and we got reports from them, and we continually were updating those on a continuous basis. And so I said, okay, now we know how to do it. So I had solved the two things, but let's talk about the third, which is what if they don't pay me? Well, what I realized, our dentists are very quick to sign up for a PPO and take a 40% discount on their fee, even a 50%. So let's say you're charging, I'm going to use simple math, you know, $1,000 for a crown, but now you can only charge $600. You're willing to lose $400 to a marketing company that's all they're doing is marketing their services to dentists so that you're going to reduce your fee by 40%. Yet you're worried when you don't get paid full fee because someone didn't pay you. And what I will tell you is we rank patients from A, B, C, D, and E. The E being the worst credit, 500 or below credit score. The best are the A's. Those are the ones that are third-party financing, like a Care Credit or a Springstone or a Green, whatever they are. They're going to finance them. They'll finance them and they'll give them interest-free for 12 months. And you'll give them interest-free for 12 months, but you're going to take a 10% discount on that, or a 9 or an 8 or whatever it is. And you're going to think that's a really good deal. Well, what I'll tell you is the A's, we know, default at less than 0.5%. Why would a bank, when does a bank loan you money? That's a question I've always had. When do banks loan you money? When you don't need money. That's when they loan you money. So these people, we know that 63% of the people, when they weren't given the option of 12 months interest free, they actually wrote you a check for it. They actually wrote the check. So then we went to the B's, and most of them get approved, but they may not get approved for the entire amount, when a lot of the A's don't either. C's, D's, E's. We know that E's, they have this credit score below 500, 530, 520. They default at like 17 to 20%. And you would say, well, I never want to do that. I never want to do a D or an E. Well, what I can tell you is, what does that mean? What it means is that 1 out of 5 don't pay you. Now, we tell you to get a down payment to cover your hard costs, remember? So you might get a 20% down. It covers all your hard costs. So now it becomes time value. It becomes how much time are you going to put in? The average dentist in the country is doing $425 an hour. That's what it is, $3,200 a day. My question is, what are they doing the rest of the day? Most of the time they're out, if they do any marketing at all, only half the patients are even getting approved or wanting to move forward with treatment. So why not? I know the facts. I know that when you look at interest and you look at 4 out of 5 paying you 17.9% interest over the full term of a loan, 5 years, that the one who didn't pay you, the one who defaults usually pays 7 payments plus the down payment. Now you have 4 people who paid the full term. We've had over 80,000 patients that have paid full term. Over 300 million in notes that we've worked with dentists, and that's the dentist paper. It's not our paper, it's your paper. You're carrying the paper. And the opportunity for people to create wealth in dentistry by helping people that need the help has never been greater. And we have got, we've got disciples out there that say, I mean, they've got $1 million in paper. They're making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a month on work that they would have never done. That's the thing you have to understand. This work you weren't going to do, they were going to go down to the cheapo depot and have it done. But instead, they're going to do it now. You got your hard costs covered. Now your time can actually have value. So, when you look at it from a different perspective, it's always about how we look at things. You've been told over and over and over not to do something. It's really hard. Compassionate finance it's like canoeing upstream until the person understands it. And then it is like free fall. They are just having fun in dentistry. Their days are full. They're producing not just 4,000 a day or 6,000, they're producing 15,000 a day. But in my world, not only that, but they're also helping more people than they've ever helped. And they're not discounting their fees by 40% to some frickin' insurance company who is really a marketing company. They're not an insurance company. They're hosing your ass is what they're doing. They're hosing you. And you're starting to see more and more about it now. Why? Because we're in this pandemic and the economy and all that stuff. But we've known this for 12 years. We've known this for 12 years. So I want you to, Stephen's going to tell you about some of the things that we're doing at Compassionate Finance right now. He's going to share with you some of the things that we're doing. And then I'm here to answer any questions that anybody has.
And I mean, I'm even going to take it back to the beginning a little bit, what we were talking about, going to some of these new dental groups. Like,
oh, yeah.
That felt like South by Southwest to me. That felt like technology. That felt like dentistry was like really moving forward. People are starting to overturn some stones that they thought maybe didn't work out so well. They're pulling things in from other industries and they're making some changes. And I thought, man, this is a bright future. So you and Dr. Buski you played where the puck was going to be 10 years down the road, because you're getting term payments for everything. I just like jokingly post in the dental investment groups on Facebook that like, how many of you would rather take Dogecoin rather than insurance?
I saw that.
And they were like, I'd rather do that. I mean, like, it just makes more sense. So patients getting these term payments through Compassionate Finance is a way to treat everyone and get the dentistry done. This is no longer talking about really subprime individuals who are going after small fees. We were working with Dr. Dunlap over at the Full Arch Masters, and folks want to do bigger and bigger cases. My inbox is not just little, help me with this, help me with that. We have folks asking for dentures, all on fours, big opportunity treatments. They just want to pay for it the same way they pay for their phone, their car, all these different things in their life. I got an email from H&M for an $8 shirt that they were more than happy to give me 4 installments of $2 on it if they could make 50 cents on it. This is the world we're living in. So, I mean, like, you guys played where the puck was way before it even got there. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I mean, and it's really come to roost during this pandemic. They say, wear your mask. No, don't wear your mask. Wear your mask. You have to wear your mask or you're going to get COVID. Now, masks don't work. Now, Alshi or whatever he's saying, well, now we're going to have to rethink this. This is today, and I'm going, dude, you don't have a freaking clue what you're talking about. None of them do. Follow the science. I can show you the science based on truth. I can show you the science based on the real deal. This is what happens when you finance people. You're going to make more money. You know, when I go to Vegas and I sit down at a high limit blackjack table, you know, I'm not sitting with dentists. You know, I'm not sitting with physicians. You know who I'm sitting with? I'm sitting with used car dealers. I'm sitting with pawn shop guys. You know why? One reason: they understand interest. And I used to feel bad. One of my best friends owns a pawn shop here in town. We've been best buds for 35 years. And I said, don't you feel bad charging interest? He said, Bruce, he said, people who have money go to the bank to borrow money. They go to the bank. If they have money, if they need money, they can go get more because they have it. People who don't have money can't go to the bank. I've got people that come in to buy formula for their kids. I've got people that come in to buy diapers. I got people that come in to buy something for their business that they could never get anywhere else. Now, I'm not saying that's all we do, because now, you know, full arch masters, those docs are doing $35,000 cases. They're getting 12 down, 15 down to cover their heart costs, but now patients are paying. Now, what I will tell you is you don't want to just do one of these cases. You want to do 10 of them. Why? Because the odds are on your side. And so that's just the truth. If you look at the numbers, it works out. And to be honest with you, if you had half the people default, half of them default, and you got your down payment, you're still going to beat the shit out of every single one of the PPOs that you're signed up for. You're going to beat the shit out of them because they're knocking 40 to 50% off of your shitty fee. So, I mean, sorry for the French, but it just pisses me off that people can't see it. And it's time to open your eyes and understand that you have an opportunity to do good while doing good, meaning you can do amazing in your practice. You'll make more money than you've ever made in your life, but more importantly, you're going to help more people than you've ever helped in your life. And that's why I love compassionate finance.
Yeah, no more race to the bottom with a coupon little ad on your Facebook page that says, oh, you know, come in for this, or I'll knock $1,500 off that. People have spoken. They're not afraid to make term payments and pay a little bit of interest. That's just the way it is. I see so many dentists. I'm tired of cutting 10% of my fee to care credit right off the top to even get this done. And you mentioned during the pandemic, creating a monthly reoccurring license for yourself where you are continuing to get paid, whether you are doing dentistry or not. That's a big deal. We help some practices keep their doors open, quite frankly, when they were closed for 2.5 months. And who knows if this is going to be protocol in the future if something like this happens.
Huge deal. And you know what? Everything's going to go that way. You get this economy tighten, you get this market to drop 700 points or 7,000 points. You know, people that have money, we saw it in 08. They hold on to it. How will they spend it? You know, well, they're going to spend it based on what they can afford monthly. And that's just what happens. Now, what's even more unbelievable is the docs that have been doing compassionate finance. Now you have patients that come in, even if they didn't have insurance, they got a $1,200 check from the government, which, you know, these are all things. I would rather have my money growing than I would watching it just bleed away. So, and I would rather have my time valuable than sitting in on Facebook or on Dental Town talking to other dentists who are bitching and moaning about how bad it is. I know for a fact there are dentists that are killing it right now. Why? Because they don't listen to that bullshit.
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
Dr. Craig Spodak from Bulletproof Dental Practice. I was talking to him earlier today, and using compassionate finance, he's just seen his practice explode. Now, we have a great question from Rodney Eccles, Dr. Eccles over here in the chat. He says, do you recommend membership clubs or not? Membership clubs that promote discounts, is that good?
You know what? There are lots of different ways to do things. The thing I like about membership is you're creating monthly revenue. And you know, and you're skimming off some of the top. You're taking, you know, the hygiene and you're making it where they're coming in on a regular basis. And it's been proven that you end up doing more dentistry. So I'm okay with the, you know, 10%, 15, maybe even 20% off. But we have some membership docs that are doing compassionate finance and they're getting a double whammy. They're getting money off their membership and money off of their paper, their debt paper. And what they're doing is they're inflation proofing, they're in you know, recession proofing their practice. And so I'm A-okay with that. You know, I would first do my own financing and see if I needed it. But I think that there's a marketing component to this from the membership side that can offset any resistance. Rodney, I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Eccles, if you have any follow-ups for that, go ahead and put that in the chat. I mean, like, first thing that came to my mind, I was like, Productive Dentist Academy is going to be back with live events in September in Fort Worth, I believe. And Clear is always there. Compassionate Finance is always there. This is a great, like, 1, 2, 3 punch, actually, when you get the knowledge of how to run a productive practice. You learn more about one of the most cutting edge membership programs out there with the fellows from Clear. And then, of course, Compassionate Finance will be there as well.
Yep. Well, it's great. It's great. All right. Well, it's been a good night. I hope you guys have picked up some. You can always send email to bruce@productivedentist.com. If you're not comfortable asking, just send me an email. I'm more than happy to return that. It may take me a little while with my 2-finger typer, but more than happy to do that.
Yeah, and we are going to be back with some more shows coming up Monday nights or a different night. We're going to have some guests on. So let's really get that mentality like we had last year of everybody coming in, asking questions. We really want to be that resource for y'all. I did put in the chat, my good friend, Dr. Glenn Vo, is doing the Nifty Thrifty Virtual Summit on Friday, and it will feature a CE course given by Dr. Baird. It is awesome stuff. I put a link in there, so go ahead and make sure you check that out as well. It'll also be linked into the follow-up email you will receive tomorrow.
All right, guys. Thanks, man. I'm going to leave before the tornado hits.
Yeah, hey, you know, it is the 25th anniversary of the release of the movie Twister today, too. So we got to watch out a little bit. So
I'm keeping my eyes open. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.